Flying does a number on your body, even before you take into account all the germs tagging along on your trip. And the grossest, germiest spots on the plane are often hidden in plain sight. Trip calculator site Travel Math got a microbiologist to swab areas around 5 airports and 4 planes to discover where bacteria really congregate, and the top spot might surprise you.
Oh, that feels better.
They found an average of 2,155 colony-forming units, or CFUs, per square inch on seatback tray tables, almost 10 times more than the toilet flush button in lavatories. A CFU is a unit used to estimate the number of viable bacteria or fungi in a sample. Who would have thought that the tray tables you eat off of would be one of the grossest parts of the plane? It's something we touch without even thinking about it. Other researchers have found cold viruses, noroviruses, and human parainfluenza viruses on airplane tray tables, all of which can cause respiratory infections. They even found the superbug, MRSA, which causes skin infections. If you've ever seen someone change a baby's diaper on the tray table, you'll understand why this part of the airplane is notoriously nasty. If you wipe down any part of your seating area when you sit on an airplane, ensure it's the tray table. You can also purchase tray table covers to avoid touching the tray at all. Over the course of 18 flights, 100 samples were taken for a study conducted by CBC. Of the findings, one of the most worrisome samples revealed that E. coli was present in samples taken from the seatback pockets. E. coli is a particularly dangerous bacteria that wreaks all kinds of havoc on the digestive system and intestines. It makes sense why seatback pockets are so dirty. Like tray tables, this is another area a lot of passengers touch without even thinking. And since some of them are mesh, they're incredibly difficult to clean properly. While some passengers might use seatback pockets to store magazines, books, and other small items, other people stash their trash, chewed gum, used tissues, filled air sickness bags, and even dirty diapers.
Airline travel is very dangerous.
Suffice it to say, overworked airplane crews don't have enough time to deep clean a plane between flights. That extends especially to areas of the plane that are hard to clean. Seatback pockets are, unfortunately, one of those areas. Even the rarely seen complimentary blankets and pillows aren't safe from the germs of airplane life. Sure, a free pillow or blanket is usually welcome when you're trying to catch some Z's, but only accept one if it's still sealed in plastic. Blankets and pillows that aren't sealed may get reused. While they may get washed in between uses, that's not guaranteed. If your blankets and pillows aren't sealed, take that as a big red flag. On long-haul flights, you are less likely to encounter this issue, since each seat often comes with a sealed comfort kit. Even though it takes up extra room, the only way to avoid the questionable sanitization of these products is to bring your own travel pillow or blanket. They'll be better quality than the freebie anyway. Just make sure to buy a pillow and blanket that can be washed so you don't bring home germs from your flight. So, the good news is that the air vents above your seat are markedly cleaner than the tray tables, according to Travel Math. The bad news is that, all things considered, they're still pretty yucky. That's due in part because, like backseat pockets, the vents themselves are difficult and time-consuming to clean. Think about it. Folks walk through the airport touching everything from door handles to water fountains to escalator armrest belts. Then, they get on the plane, touching the seats, the backseat pocket, and the belt buckle, before reaching for the air vent to get comfy. Needless to say, you can assume a lot of dirty hands have touched the air vent before you. That might not be the worst news if you're an early flyer, though we can't promise they were cleaned overnight either. Travel Math found that, on average, these vents have 285 CFUs per square inch, more than on the lavatory flush button. Because of this, it's a good idea to use the sanitizing towelettes some airlines hand out to adjust the vent when you first board the plane, and then don't touch it again. While many items on this list can be avoided, the one thing every passenger must touch is the seat belt buckle, and yet they are seldom cleaned. As expected, this is mostly because doing so would take too much time between flights. The quick cleaning turnaround between flights means trash is picked up and things are straightened out, but not necessarily cleaned. Most aircraft have more than 100 seats, so imagine how long it would take to hit every single belt buckle. You'd end up waiting an hour or longer just for cleaning. And this doesn't even consider cleaning the belt itself, which is likely filled with germs too. The average airplane seatbelt buckle has 230 CFUs of bacteria per square inch, according to Travel Math, making it the third germiest surface on the plane. Like with the air vent, our best advice is to clean your hands after touching your seatbelt buckle. That includes any time you need to get out of your seat and buckle again. One way to remember to sanitize is to clip a small hand sanitizer bottle to your personal item. That way, it's accessible throughout the flight. And don't forget to sanitize again after deplaning. The places we overlook often affect us most. According to USA Today, the latches on overhead bins are heavily handled but rarely cleaned.
This isn't how they actually transport the mini pretzels.
Unless you're only bringing a personal item, you'll probably have to touch the overhead bin at some point. You could wait for someone ahead of you to open it, but if you're in a hurry, then the responsibility of opening the overhead bin will likely fall on you. Airlines have no regulatory body when it comes to sanitation. Although the FAA has policies on airplane cleanliness, the airlines themselves are free to set their own standards and quality control measures, which they then communicate to contractors to do the job. Basically, cleaners clean to get the job done quickly, not to maximize sanitation. Aircraft cabins are generally tidied up between flights, but only get vacuumed, wiped down, and disinfected at the end of the day, or after overnight or international flights. But for real deep cleaning, most airlines are only able to do that every 30 to 45 days on average. Just consider how many passengers go through each plane in that time, and imagine how many of them touch the overhead bins. You should also keep in mind that whatever germs you pick up from the latch will inevitably get transferred to your suitcase, so keep some sanitizer handy. Part of the reason so many germs thrive on airplanes is because they are able to survive for long periods of time on the materials inside. Auburn University researchers found that a certain strain of E. coli bacteria, which can cause severe diarrhea, can live on a rubber armrest for up to 4 days, longer than on tray tables or in bathrooms. The cleaning that happens in between flights doesn't involve wiping down armrests, so this would be a good location to clean with a wipe once you get to your seat. Given the tedious nature of wiping down hundreds of armrests, this area is likely overlooked during the quick turnaround between flights. It's almost impossible to avoid touching an armrest on a plane, especially for seats in the bulkhead area where the tray tables are often attached to the armrest, since there isn't a seat in front of them. So even if you're diligent, if you want to use the tray table at all in that seat, you'll have to touch even more of the armrest than the rest of the passengers on board. This is why you should use hand sanitizer before eating or drinking, and after touching armrests. If you can't avoid the germs, eliminate them.
Get off my plane.
Many people prefer the aisle so they can stretch their legs and not disturb others if they stand up to use the bathroom. But this location also has its pitfalls. Closer proximity to the aisle also means closer proximity to passengers and airline employees moving through the plane, who often use the back of your chair to steady themselves as they walk, including to and from the lavatories. Think of how many people you see walking through the aisles during a flight, and then remember how many flights that plane made before yours. That's a lot of people. And a lot of them probably touched your seat, leaving all their microscopic germs behind to latch onto you. The aisle seat headrest in particular gets a lot of action because people use it for stability when walking through the cabin. Especially during periods of turbulence, there is often no choice but to grab onto the nearest object, which is usually the headrest. Even the armrest isn't safe from walking passengers. If people even just brush against it with their pant leg, they could still leave traces of germs behind. Perhaps they patted their half-washed hands dry on their pants instead of using a paper towel. Which brings us to… hundreds of passengers pass through a plane each day, and the average flight has one toilet for every 50 to 75 people. We know that not everyone washes their hands, so we also know that bathrooms are inherently gross. That goes double for lavatories on airplanes, which are more like a toilet closet than a proper bathroom. Plus, how many times have you gone to throw out a paper towel after washing your hands, only to find an overfull garbage can? Now you have to shove your hand down into an unknown sea of used paper towels. Gross.
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine now.
Restrooms are cleaned regularly, but aren't fully disinfected between flights, meaning door locks, faucets, sinks, and handles are all natural places for hundreds of germs to congregate. That is how airplane lavatories end up as one of the grossest places on an airplane. And don't get us started on the toilet flush button, which most people touch before washing their hands, which means it has more germs than the toilet itself. According to Travel Math, 265 CFUs per square inch are on the lavatory flush button. This is why you should use paper towels when touching the flush button, and any other surface in the lavatory. It's common to come down with a cold or something worse after flying. A popular myth is that the air is being recirculated throughout the plane, creating an incubator for germs. But airplane air is actually constantly being cleaned by hospital-grade filters and replaced by clean outside air. On top of that, air in most planes is circulated from top to bottom, rather than from front to back, so you're not breathing in the germs of everyone else in front of you. In fact, airplane air is generally cleaner than that of most office buildings. That's been true for years, but it has been even more true since the COVID-19 pandemic. Ever since then, airlines have stepped up their air filtration game. You can also try giving your immune system some superpowers with strategies like taking vitamin C for a few days leading up to a flight, and making sure you get plenty of rest ahead of your flight. While this is no guarantee you won't get sick from the plane ride, it can't hurt either. Plus, who doesn't want an immune boost?